Well, much as I would like to sit in the view of the camera and show you the LPs and things that I have, clearly from my last little episode about the Rolling Stones, it didn't really work because you couldn't really see the albums in any detail, let alone any minor detail. So I decided to do it again, and therefore so the best way of doing it is for me not to have these actual albums and singles, etc. in my hand, but to actually have the camera on the items, and I'll talk about them from the side. As I said on the first one I did, which I'm going to redo, this is a t-shirt that I got from a friend in America. I mentioned Pennsylvania, it's particularly, I think it was from Philadelphia. And also I bought this bow tie down at Lincoln last year at the Christmas market. Haven't used it yet, but I was getting a bit bored of the on the cruises of the dinner jackets with the normal white shirt and black bow tie, or red, or yeah, they're the only two I've got, black and red. So I thought this might make it a little bit more livelier. We'll see how it goes. Right, so I'm going to now get out of the camera and show you the items that I talked about in the first recording. Well, hello and welcome to my second attempt to talk about my Rolling Stones records. The first record I got was this one, the Rolling Stones' first album. Only had 2 Jagger and Richards songs on it, but at that time they were recording other artists' material, and I still reckon it's one of the best, if not the best, album they made. I got it from somebody where I used to work in about 1965. I just started work, no money, couldn't buy any records, couldn't afford it. And a girl came in, or a woman came in and said she had this album and that they'd used it that many times, they were just going to throw it out, which I thought, what? Anyway, I did ask if I could have it, the album, and I did get it. And although it's been played a lot, I've played it a lot since. Obviously I don't play it now. Well, I say obviously, I'm not a big one into playing vinyl, but I have most of the albums on DVD anyway, or CD. So this is the Rolling Stones' first album. You can maybe see that the actual vinyl album itself is starting to fall out the bottom of the case. It shows the tracks on it. The only ones on here that were Jagger and Richard are Tell Me, which I think did very well in the US, and Little by Little, which is actually Felge and Spector, which is Phil Spector, but Felge is the alternative name to Jagger. I say that, but I know it's usually Nanker and Felge in most of the other records where it doesn't say Jagger and Richards. So that's the first one, as you can see. It's somewhat battered, but still plays. Not surprisingly, the second Rolling Stones album is called the Rolling Stones 2. Again, it only has 2 Jagger and Richards records on, but the material is still good. All of these albums I played and played and played over the years, especially when I was younger in the 60s. Now it's playing various CDs in the car most of the time. There we are, that's the B side, or the backs of the album cover. Well-known tracks there, I'm sure, to most of you. Number 3, Out of Our Heads. I think the American version is different, but most of the tracks are the same. This one actually includes 4 Jagger and Richards songs. They're now starting to realise there was a need for them to write, as Andrew Loog Oldham would have told them. So they did actually have 4 tracks on this album. I couldn't play any of these at first because I didn't have a record player. It does help. This before I got these Stones, just before that I didn't have anything to play them on. So a person I was working for part-time when I was at college asked me if I wanted a record player, and said if I dug over the whole of his garden, which was new and still like a building site, and prepared it as a garden, as in turning over the soil, he would let me have this record player. And it wasn't a dance set, it was much better quality, solid timber sides, but still had the usual arm over the top to allow a pile of records to be placed on it, or of course to put the album on, leave the arm off, and for it to keep playing over and over and over again. As you can see, as I mentioned, there's 4 Jagger and Richards songs. Gotta Get Away, I'm Free, Heart of Stone, Big in America, I believe, and the Under Assistant West Coast Promotion Man. And that was number 3. Aftermath. Well, they're all my favourites. I'm going to say one of my favourites, but that's beside the point. They're all going to be. That's why I bought them. That's why I like them. Now they were into writing their own in a big way. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the Friday night start to the weekend we had on television here, where all the acts of the day would play live, or at least appear live. Most of them were miming. A track on here called Going Home, which is 11 minutes and 33 seconds long. Part of it was used as the intro. Prior to this there had been Manfred Mann's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and also Wilson Pickett's Land of a Thousand Dances. Most of the tracks that they used for the intro were pretty good, but obviously at the length of that track it had to be a comparatively small part of it to be used in the intro. They're all the tracks written by the Stones, or rather Jagger and Richards. Includes Out of Time, which of course was the big hit for Chris Farlowe. Under My Thumb was no more than an album track here. I believe it was bigger over in the States. I've sung Mother's Little Helper a few times at karaoke. One of the tracks on this particular album. The last vinyl album I bought was Between the Buttons, the Stones' 5th album. Again, it's all Jagger and Richards compositions. Not one with tracks on that you would automatically recall if you weren't into the Stones, because I don't recall any of them actually being single hits. And this one, it looks a little bit like Sticky Fingers, but of course it's not the album, it's the menu from Bill Wyman's Sticky Fingers in West London. I've been there a couple of times. Once was when I was going to the Stones concert at Twickenham, and we were looking at this menu, and I just put it down, but a couple we were talking to unbeknown to me, the woman slipped it in my carrier bag that I had with bin shopping, and I didn't know this till I got home. So I'm pleased she did though, because it's a good piece of a souvenir to have. I expect that most people take a souvenir from there. As the menu opens up, this is a few years ago now. As you can see the prices. A little bit of an idea. And on the other side, the sticky bits. That's about things you can buy at the souvenir shop within Sticky Fingers.